So, this poster depicts the Latin American migrant facing raids and deportation in the U.S. The narrative, although important, is one that is dominated in the conversation around immigration reform. But there's my story. I was born in the USSR in the area that is now known as the Ukraine. Unfortunately, this Ignite talk is way too short for me to go into the detail about the persecution my parents and grandparents faced under communist rule in the Ukraine. But for the opportunity to live in the freedom they never had, my parents bribed their way out of the Soviet Union when I was just 3 years old and into Canada. After seeking political asylum in both Canada and the United States, and after multiple appeals, we were denied refugee status. In fact, the next appeal will take us up to the Supreme Court. Meanwhile, the Soviet Union dismantled. Ukraine issued a law stating that each Soviet citizen is now a Ukrainian citizen. This law excludes those that fled the country. Since my family has arrived to the US, my family registered with Social Security Administration, and we also pay income tax on everything we earn. During court proceedings, my parents were granted work authorization cards. These cards grant immigrants the right to work within the US. Because I was a minor at that time, I was not granted a card. The country my family was born in no longer exists. The country that replaced it does not recognize us as citizens, and the country we currently live in does not give us a path to citizenship. We are stateless. I am stateless. When I became an adult, because I didn't have a state-issued ID, and because there was no way for me to acquire a work authorization card, I could not drive, acquire legal employment, open a bank account, and above all, receive FAFSA aid to go to school. This limited my independence as an adult. In June 2012, my partner Kevin and I drove to Elkton, Maryland, and acquired a marriage license. For a period of time, my partner and I were unsure if we could even get married because I didn't have a state-issued ID. Fortunately, we were so lucky to meet David Benyon, a Philadelphia local lawyer and activist within immigration, represent us. You will see his slide come up, and he is an amazing lawyer, and he's an activist, and he runs an amazing blog called Citizen Orange that I recommend you guys reading. Immigration lawyers like David, who have integrity and understanding the law and who pioneer towards reform, are extreme rare gems. My marriage to my U.S. citizen partner does not provide me a citizenship or a path to it. The Bush administration, after 9/11, issued a law saying that in order for me, the applicant, to apply for marriage visa, I have to go back to the country I came from and apply from there. Because I'm stateless, this completely disqualifies me. Luckily, Obama won a re-election, and in 2012, he passed Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, or DACA. I want to point out that Obama has deported more immigrants in the U.S. in the history of all presidents. This after campaigning twice for reform and twice campaigning to lessen immigration deportation. DACA, on the other hand, does not provide a path to citizenship. What DACA is essentially a 2-year forgiveness period where the government legally cannot deport you. It will grant you employment status. It will give you a work authorization card for you to work, which then you can get a valid issued ID. DACA allows me to work, it allows me to travel, it allows me to open a bank account, but it does not give me any type of citizenship. In fact, the best part about DACA, it prevents me from being deported for 2 years only. The biggest disappointment is that it doesn't give me any status on citizenship, although there is always hope that eventually the government will expand the program. Because immigration reform is a political topic, there is always talk of reform before election. The immigration reform debates in this country is dominated by arguments surrounding Latino immigrants and H-1B visas. The issue of stateless individuals is never talked about because it's too sticky of a topic for candidates to even approach. I never chose to come to this country. I have no country to turn to. But while I'm in this country, I'm paying taxes and I'm a contributing member to the society. In many ways, I feel like a political, prisoner. And the knee-jerk xenophobic reaction to the 9/11 attacks around the world have put me in a situation that I may never have a path to citizenship ever. I may never be able to vote, travel internationally, and hold a bank account in my own name. My biggest fear is to be deported away from the country I call home and away from my family. Thank you.